Hi, I'm going to tell you this right up front. This is the second iteration of this video. I was so full of vim and vigor here in the wee hours of the night at the Lace on Race Cafe, otherwise known as the Lace on Race Center for Racial Equity. I sounded great. I looked great. And 10 minutes in, I took a look and I wasn't recording. So we're going to try this again. Maybe I'll come up with new and fresh insights for you. Hi, my name is Lace Watkins. I'm the chief bottle washer here at the Lace on Race Cafe, otherwise known as the LOR, Center for Racial Equity, right here in Southern California. I started this video. I came into the center today full of vim and vigor, ready to just knock out about 7 videos. Phew! The first one was going to be a study on Luke 1. We are revitalizing Lace on Faith, and I figure that during this Christmas season and after we have done the Hanukkah series, that it would be good to look at Christian tradition, particularly through the lens of racial justice and applied relational ethics. I was ready. I've done so much research on Luke 1. And so here I am. I'm flapping my jaws. I'm going on. And then I noticed that red light over here was not on. It wasn't on. That was a bit problematic. But then again, that's me. And it also reminded me of something else that I wanted to say to you. Stay tuned. For those of you who are new to this channel or who haven't been here for a while, let me introduce myself. Like I said, I'm Lace on Race, chief bottle washer for the Lace on Race Cafe, and also someone who apparently doesn't know how to push buttons, but we're going to leave that alone for a little bit. If you like, click subscribe on all of our platforms, Twitter, Facebook, our own website, and Instagram. I want to hear from you. I want you to click subscribe. I want you to comment. I want you to share. This is an important one, but it's not about Luke 1. That's my bait and switch, because I started thinking about something else. I started thinking about making room. Making room. It's part of the whole Luke thing, and it could be something like an introduction to Luke 1, but this actually has to do with my own life and my own struggles. Struggle not in terms of it's downtrodden, but struggle in terms of forcing me to face myself, forcing me to become more and more of the woman I say I want to be. And that means taking a hard look over here, where there is distance between the woman I say I want to be and the woman I actually am. And that is why we are going to be talking about making room. What do I mean when I talk about making room beyond the actual? Well, in the case of the Santa Fe, let's talk about the actual for a moment. In the case of the Santa Fe, it meant getting rid of some stuff. A friend of mine, a good friend, is going up to continue their career as a rhetorician up at Claremont Graduate. And they asked if I would accompany them up there. And of course I said yes. And then they asked something a little difficult that put me on tilt. They actually had the audacity to ask if I could also include in the journey up the 5 freeway, if I could also include their computer printer and their monitor. Small items, easily accommodated by a mid-sized SUV. Except it wasn't so simple. It had taken me almost 2 hours, wait for it, listen, hear me, 2 hours to excavate the front passenger seat and clean it off and make it pretty so that my sister Alana could get in there and I could take her hither and yon last Saturday. my goodness. It's like, oh my, grumble, 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 grumble. And then I had a wonderful time with her and it was absolutely worth it. And then it's like, oh, so when I was asked, can you take me? I said, of course. I mean, come on. Passenger seat is open now. Although there's still stuff on it. I mean, come on. I did go to Costco and Aldi and not everything made it into the house, but that is easily fixed. Not a problem with that. But a computer monitor? A printer? Does that mean I'm actually going to have to excavate the back seat too? This is where we start talking about the theoretical, the person that I say that I want to be, the person that I envision myself as, my identity, my very identity as a woman of honor and as a woman who loves community and loves service, and the actual things that I have been doing in my life that actively sabotage the woman I say I want to be. Yes, I love being the person who can just drop everything. I am your 3 a.m. friend. You are stranded on the 94. Let me throw on a robe. I will be there at 3 a.m. Except I can't, really. I mean, until last Saturday. I had not had anyone in my truck since pre-COVID, which means that truck filled up and filled up and filled up. So hypothetically, theoretically, I'm the 3 a.m. friend. But unless you're wanting a Zoom call and one-on-one abiding time at 3 a.m., I'm not of much practical use to you. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? If we are not setting the conditions to be able to stand up, suit up, and show up for the people that we love, more accurately, the people we say we love, are we really that person? Regardless of if we want to be that person. Are we that person? Am I the person that I envisioned myself to be? Am I the person that I purport to be when I'm faced with choice points or pain points? That is a question that's worth asking. That is a question worth interrogating. Because there's only two choices here. I can either move closer to being the woman that I say I want to be, closer and closer to North Star values here at the Lace on Race Cafe, or I can capitulate and say, that, it was nice, but it wasn't really realistic. I'm actually more this chick. And so all of a sudden, my promises and my commitments become conditional. They become provisional. I'm your 3 a.m. friend if all the stars are aligned and if I'm not doing anything else and if there's not something else going on and if I didn't get the 36 roll toilet paper at Costco, so now you can't sit down. It means I need to make room. It means I need to make room to become fully the woman I say I want to be. It is a really easy pivot to the relational, and it is a very easy pivot to race. Let me let you in on a secret. I stopped the video for a hot minute to make room for making room, and also because I wanted to try this thing, and the kettle went off, and I think this is going to be amazing. It's a cocoa bomb. The idea is that eventually it will melt and do cocoa, but right now what it is a ball in my teapot, in my teacup, and I'm hoping that eventually by the time this video is over, I will be able to reward myself with cinnamon cocoa bomb. Fingers crossed. It's still a ball. I'll let you in on progress as the video continues. Yeah, but I'm really hoping that it does what it says it's going to do. It's sort of sinking down into the cup, so hopefully Uh, there's no metaphor here. Everyone thinks that I speak in metaphors and illustrations, and that everyone's probably scratching their heads going, I wonder where she's going with the cocoa bomb. No, actually, sometimes a cocoa bomb is just a cocoa bomb, and I'm just hoping that eventually I'll be able to drink the cocoa bomb. I'm actually going to press it down a little bit and hope that it does something. Yeah, it's getting softer. It's opening up. Something's happening. Fingers crossed. Let's talk again about making room. Making room. In doing the research on Luke 1, on the Magnificat, and I'm going to talk about it in the next video, but this is what made me think of it. Oh my gosh, when it happened, it happened. Look at this. Marshmallows and the smell of cinnamon. Hey, it listened to me. Making room is another way of saying yes. A full-throated yes. As I was contemplating the Magnificat, and as I was thinking about Luke 1, and I was reading commentaries on Luke 1, something occurred to me, and it has nothing to do with Luke 1, but everything to do with Luke 1. It actually came on a dating site. Someone who was a dating expert was talking about how you know if someone is right for you, and he made it pretty binary, which I actually kind of agree with. If it's not a fork, yeah, he used another word. If it's not a fork, yeah, then it's a hell no. So the first time that you're sitting with someone, if you're not feeling the stirrings of a fork, yeah, then it's a no. No, it is not always that binary. So, you can comment. I get it. I do. But I want to think about that. I want to think about that a little bit. We've talked in Lace on Race about the value. I'm going to stir and talk because I really want to try it. About the value of being able to say yes, and to say yes first. To say yes first to a racial justice praxis. To say yes first to the relational. But if in order to say yes first, a full-throated yes, a yes without reservation, a yes without condition, that means we have to look at the places where it could wind up being conditional and provisional, or just a downright no. That's where I found myself sitting on the coronavirus couch a few hours ago when my friend asked me if we could stash a monitor and maybe a printer in a really big Santa Fe. And I had to think long and hard. All right, it's time for metaphor, because I'm going to do it. May as well. And I'm still stirring. So, what are the things in our metaphorical deep blue Santa Fe's that keep us from being the people that we want to say we are? Another writer said something that was amazing to me years ago. I've said it here at Lace on Race. I say it in my own praxis, that when you are faced with choice points or pain points, like I was today with the Santa Fe and my friend, there's two ways to go. If I am not living in alignment with my stated values, I can either change my behavior and do the internal work that would make that behavior change both feasible and durable, or I can change my values. One or the other. And I'm actually, in some cases, fairly agnostic about which one is taken. I used to say that I really, really valued a pristine, and I do mean pristine, you could eat off the floor kind of kitchen. But the fact of the matter is that I mean, I don't want it to be super messy. I want to be able to cook in it, but I'm not really one for an antiseptic kitchen. I want a kitchen where I'm not afraid to set a while, where I don't think that, my $20,000 Carrera marble will be ruined if I set a spatula down. I like a couple of cups near the sink. It means that there's life in it. So I had to tell myself the truth. I do not want a kitchen that belongs in House Beautiful. That's not my value. That's not my value. But I do want to have a kitchen where people can come in and I'll give them a cup of something and they stay a while. So I do value making it nice and inviting and warm. That's it. But that meant I needed to define for myself what a good kitchen looked like. Not what I was told that it looked like, but what a good kitchen looks like. And a good kitchen for me means there's always water on the boil, means there's always at least 2, maybe 4 clean cups, means that there's a variety of teas and coffee and maybe even iced tea or lemonade in the refrigerator. It means that there's not too many pans on the stove, because that's a distraction. It's like, oh my God, there's a lot of pans on the stove, Lace. It means maybe even having soup or the fixins for a sandwich, because no one should leave my kitchen hungry or thirsty. But that means making sure that I have fresh food in the refrigerator, which means sometimes it means I have to wait for it. Are you ready? Make room. When we say that we want community, real community, authentic community with heft and staying power and, dare I say, good sandwiches, that means we have to give some things up. And I think that that is one of the things that we have not always been taught well. You can have community and it will cost you nothing. It won't cost you any time. It won't cost you any effort. You don't have to really do anything. Community will just come to you. And even when we make room for community, or we say we do, if we're doing it with a sense of resentment or a sense of being put upon, is that community or is it toxic obligation? I want to be able to say to my friend, absolutely, there's room in the Santa Fe for your printer and your monitor, and there's room for you. Here's my phone. You pick the music on Spotify. When you're hungry, tell me when you want me to stop. I'm here to be a servant for you and to make things as easy as possible for you to be in communion with me. And I should treat it as a privilege, not an onerous burden, that I have been chosen to take my friend to Claremont Graduate. That brings me closer to the woman I say I want to be. Let's pivot to Lace on Race. I know that a lot of times people have said, either outright or in slightly couched, slightly coded language, that what we ask is a lot. That they thought that they were coming for instruction, maybe entertainment, but they didn't know that they were going to have to do stuff. They didn't know, or they didn't fully appreciate, that they were going to be expected to clean out their Santa Fe. There's no way that you can get it in if you're full up. If I get to the point, and I'm not going to lie, I have gotten to this point where I have gone on a Costco run and I had to get creative about how to shove things into the back of the Santa Fe because there was already a lot of stuff in there. That's doing nobody any favors. I wind up with squishy bread and apples that are all over because the bag broke. The Santa Fe was not meant to be a storage unit. The Santa Fe was meant to transport me where I need to go. When our lives, when our priorities are overfilled, then there's no way you can say a full-throated yes to anything. The minute you have to do a look like this, when someone asks something of you that you've already said you were down to do, they're not going to ask again. I have mending to do with my friend. That's a big deal. When I talk about saying yes first, this means, again, that I need to set the conditions so that my yes means something. Otherwise, it's just performative, and it's just for me. I don't want it to be just for me. If 5 people want to go to lunch on Sunday afternoon, I need to have a Santa Fe that can fit 5 people. If I want someone to eat sandwiches and drink tea with me, I need to have lettuce and tomatoes and good bread and good cheese, maybe a little bit of hummus. Otherwise, they leave hungry. Or not. Or not. I can set the conditions so that I can talk a good game, but no one ever comes into the Santa Fe. I've done that since COVID. I can set the conditions to never want to have anyone actually come in to the kitchen that I talk up so much. As long as it's just on the wrong side of cluttered. So, I can't have you in my house. I can't. But I'm happy. I'm happy to meet you at a nice coffee shop, and we can be really, really nice together and be very polite. But you can't take your shoes off in a coffee house. You can't get down and dirty and watch the sunset from my porch if I can't have you there. I need to make room. I need to make room for my convictions as well. You knew I was going to get here. You knew I was going to get here, and here we are. There are some things that are not compatible. Some of my attitudes, some of my biases, some of the scripts that I've had and the stories that I have told both about the world and about myself that need to be excavated before new stuff gets in. I know all of you want to live it out. Live it out. Live it out. And I want you to too. Yes, that is the whole point of us being here together. To lessen and mitigate the harm. I get it. And I am down with it. But if lace on, this is good. If lace on race is Costco, you need to have room in your trunk to get it in. Otherwise, the eggs do break. Otherwise, the bread does get mushy. Otherwise, the tomatoes do get squishy. How can you serve if your ingredients are compromised? Which means you got to look. You got to look and see if there's anything that's expired. And there was some raisin bread in the back of the Santa Fe that we're not going to talk about. Are there things that once served a purpose but no longer do? I don't need 5 pairs of sandals in the back of the Santa Fe in the middle of winter in San Diego. They can go back inside. Or they can be the one with the broken strap that I kept on saying I was going to take to the shoe shop and get it done. But, it was only a $7 pair of shoes. Do I really want to spend $15 to get it fixed? It can go. The gardening tools should not be in your Santa Fe. They should be by your tree in the orchard, ready to roll, ready to go. And yes, I'm saying this to myself as much as I'm saying it to you, but I am saying it to you. People who count on you or who want to count on you or who you say can count on you. No, when you're being disingenuous. No. When, yes, there's room, there's room, there's room, and then you give a list of carve-outs and caveats. In order to make room for a durable racial justice practice, there's some things that gotta go. How can I be an ally in the broadest sense of the word for my friend if I make sure that there's never a situation where I actually have to serve her, but I can talk a good game in Starbucks? How can I make sure that I say yes first before the sentence comes out of her mouth? Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. And you don't have to worry about a thing. The conditions are set. You will find rest in me. Pivoting to race. Have you set up the conditions for the people you say you stand with and for? That includes your heart. That includes your wallet. It sure does. If I am willing to take my friend to Claremont Graduate, but I balk at going to the Costco gas station because I'm only going to go to Costco, that's the cheapest one in San Diego, who are we kidding? If I'm not willing to fill up at the Costco gas station, I'm not going to get 5 miles out of town. That means I need to do it soup to nuts. I need to be there. I need to show up. I need to make room. And I need to pay the price. I had a lot to think about tonight over a very innocuous request. Have I made room? And where I have not made room, am I willing to drag my trash can up the hill, bring it to the Santa Fe, get rid of the stuff that needs getting rid of, to take the stuff that needs to go somewhere else, so I can say, not only can you bring your monitor and your printer, do you have anything else? These seats fold down. I can do more than what you asked for. And by the way, my last Costco run, I got snacks. I know you like Bubble Up. Well, they had Sierra Mist, so I got 12 of them. You're going to be good to go on this trip. Giving people more than what they ask for is what we're going to be talking about in the Dimes and Envelope Challenge. But you can do it this season too. And as we go into 2022, I want you to have room. I want you to have room in your Santa Fe for what's to come. I love you all dearly. I am going to eventually close this laptop, go home, get a good rest, and clean out my Santa Fe so I can be the woman and the friend and the comrade that I say I want to be.